I'm going to do a little history lesson for everyone, since how everyone has never... I go to universities, colleges, high schools, and you'll never see this in any of the schools taught (1775), the United States of America goes to France and borrows 1.6 million francs to go ahead and fight the Revolutionary War against England. The war rages on for 7 years. In 1782, they now owe 2 million francs to the French. So the United States of America, 13 colonies, file bankruptcy, domestic, against the, because they can't pay it, they just come out of a war and they got no money. 1789, 17th of September. The United States of America cannot pay back the 3 million francs now. So England, Rothschild, goes ahead and buys the $3 million note, throwing in the United States into a 70-year international bankruptcy. Add 70 years to the Declaration, the Constitution of the United States of America was written, and the Congress would not sign it, so they put the Bill of Rights on top of it. They signed the Bill of Rights, but it was bonded, so therefore the Constitution of the United States was signed because of the bonding. The Declaration of Independence. D means no, Claire means speak, at is location, ION is contract. In means no, D means no, pend means write, ants means contract. You shall not write contract and you shall not speak contract, Benjamin Franklin. The is an adverb. You got a prepositional phrase of the, but they split it. The is an adverb making declaration a verb. Of is an adverb making independence a verb. Both false and misleading statements and fictitious conveyance of grammar. Henceforth, the Declaration of Independence is being sold at auction as a meaningless document written by a French attorney who was hired by the English Crown to capture the United States of America and the founder of the Continental Congress. Welcome to treason at its first course, Benjamin Franklin. Since I brought this out in 1995, there's been eight major books published on Benjamin Franklin's treason as being bigger than Benedict Arnold, for those of you who know Benedict Arnold.
How should you write that?
Huh?
How should you write that?
Well, not declaration. S apostrophe. Say to be creative. What's another word for improvement? Quality. Something like that. For the people's knowledge of the Constitution is with the claim of the correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar, with the rights and freedoms of the creative quality of our lives. Fill it in. Huh?
That's what I was thinking.
See, yeah, you throw me a question, I'll just cuff it off, you know, how to be correct. I wrote the Constitution for the United Nations. I used the Constitution of the United States, Constitution of England, France, Fiji, Australia, and Hawaii. Took the best of all of it, quantumized it, and the Constitution of the United Nations. And I wrote a new 59-paragraph Constitution for the United Nations and was endorsed by all 200 countries. It was then customized for Ireland, which got them their new independence from England after 660 years of war with England. And it only took 72 hours for me to do that. So, if you need if you got a question, I got an answer to an impossible question. And syntax will give you that information. 70 years. 1859, September 17th. Now, if we add no law becomes legal for 90 days from September 17th, plus 45-day trust law, you got the bombing of Fort Sumter in 1860. And the South breaks away from the North. Oh yeah, there's also a 3-day rescission act. So you had to follow timelines. These timelines were set up 4700 BC, giving a rough estimate. So it's been 6,700 years running. And these timelines have never changed. The Civil War starts. Add 70 years, 1859, 1929, November 2nd. Was presidential election day, November 2nd. The United States of America says we are coming out of our international bankruptcy with you. It's called the Year of Jubilee, the forgiving of all debts. Now, England says, all right, you're going to end the bankruptcy. 5-day rule applies. We have to give a 5-day notice to all banks and credit unions that we are going to close the banks and credit unions on November 2nd. That was posted on October 29th. Anybody remember that date? Stock market crash threw us into the Great Depression. The dollar went from $1 to 10 cents in value globally. Same thing happened when Russia came out of bankruptcy with Rothschild. It went from $1 Russian to 10 cents Russian. So they had to cut down half the Black Forest in Russia for fuel, pull out all their gold, silver, oil, and timber. It took them 10 years to get everything up and running. When they turned off the money, they turned off the power, and everything ran on steam in 1989 when Russia came out of bankruptcy. And therefore, everything froze solid. It was the wintertime when they came out and broke all their turbines because it was all water operated, and everything froze and broke. So their whole infrastructure was destroyed. And Russia went dark for 10 years. Really had no power. Half the population on any given time was cutting trees for fuel in all the cities. And they wound up cutting down half the forest in Russia, which was a huge, huge oxygen producer here on planet Earth. And that's why our oxygen, our CO2 levels in 1960 stood at 998 parts per million. And at the top of the volcano at Mauna Lea monitoring station in Hawaii, 6 weeks ago I was up there, it stood at 4,020. It has gone up from 1960 to 2010, 50 years, from 990 to 4,020. And then you wonder why I have global warming. Okay, and so the bankruptcy was renewed on September 17th, was retroactive renewed to September 17th, 1929. Because you have to add 45-day trust law to September 17th and you get November 2nd. You ever wonder why we have the first Tuesday in November, November 2nd? Because it's 45 days after the Constitution of the United States International Bankruptcy was signed on September 17th, 1789. Add another 70 years and you get 1999, November 2nd. Just happens to fall on that date. The president on November 2nd, 1999. Those of you that are old enough and remember, we counted ballots, as no law becomes legal for 90 days. Because there was no law in the United States, the bankruptcy, the IRS does not exist for 90 days. The United States government does not exist for 90 days. The United States military, under the Universal Postal Union, was ordered at DEFCON 2 with their finger on the nuke button. We were at 1 minute to midnight for the end of the world. If anybody were to, if China or Russia launched an attack against the United States when we didn't exist, they were going to go to nuclear World War III. That's how close we were to the end of the world. So for 90 days, they had everyone count ballots. Watch the left hand while the right hand took care of business. And on November 2nd, February 2nd, 2000, Bush, with 47% of the vote, was the 45th consecutive left-handed president in the United States. No president has ever been right-handed in the United States since 1775.
What's the significance of that?
Left hand develops the right side of your brain, which is logic. The right-handed people use their left side of their brain, which is emotions. Anytime two of you were to get into an argument, no matter what you are saying to each other, and you are heightened emotionally, I can throw a math problem at you, like 3 times 3 times 3 equals 27. In a time it would take you to analyze the answer of that, you would take all your energy from your left brain, transfer it to your right brain, your blood pressure would drop 60 points, your emotional would become stabilized in 3 seconds, and you'll be using the logic side of your brain and stop fighting. So anytime you get upset, do a math problem, completely cancel your emotional upset. How's that for a fix it? Didn't know that about your human brain, did you? Yes.
Aren't the elections in the even years, though?
1999, November 2nd. President doesn't take office until the even year. They're elected on the odd year. It's 2012, yes, but the president doesn't take office until 2013. No, 1999, November 2nd, was the end of the third international bankruptcy. There was no election take place that year. I mean, the election took place, but the president wasn't appointed until the 2nd of February 2000. And Bush was reinstated. This was Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton said on November 2nd he would be the last president of the United States of America. On the 2nd of February 2000, the United States of America Corporation took over. The democracy was dead. The Constitution expired.